17, which is the revised preliminary plat of Ketone Business Center subdivision, and FP 2-17, which is the final plat of Ketone Business Center subdivision Unit 1. The applicant in this matter is Ketone Acquisitions, LLC. Ketone Acquisitions is also the owner and developer. Their requested action today is the approval of a vacation, preliminary, and final plat. The purpose is to develop a 3-lot industrial subdivision. Existing zoning is I-2, and that is general industrial zoning. Location is Route 6 at Hollywood Boulevard. Size, 262 acres, and the existing land use is undeveloped. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is industrial and commercial, B3 general business, and I2 general industrial. To the south is the Des Plaines River. To the east is undeveloped commercial, I2. To the west is Forest Preserve, which is also zoned I2. Site history. The subject property was annexed and zoned I2 in 1970 as part of the Chicago gravel operation. A preliminary plat for First Park Joliet subdivision was approved in February 2008, and a preliminary plat for Joliet Commerce Center subdivision was approved in February 2013. But they were never finalized and have subsequently lapsed. The preliminary plat and final and recording plat for Unit 1, those were all approved by the City Council in June of 2016. Under special information, the approval of the vacation, preliminary, and final plat for Ketone Business Center subdivision will allow the creation of a 3-lot industrial subdivision. A 1.25 million square foot warehouse and distribution building is proposed for Lot 1, which includes 76.3 acres. Lot 2 is a buildable lot and includes 35.5 acres, but has no future user identified at this time. Lot 3 will remain a large 154.3 acre lot that is not part of the final plat and will be re-subdivided as part of a future redevelopment plan. Lot 3 will also include the future dedication of the Hollywood Boulevard Road extension and Des Plaines River Bridge. The remainder of Lot 3 will contain a conservation easement for the existing floodplain and wetlands. Future negotiations will need to take place between the developer and the Forest Preserve District of Will County concerning a future land donation. The vacation request is necessary due to the realignment and reconfiguration of lots in the previously approved subdivision. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and Public Works and Utilities Department. A 10-foot wide hiking biking trail is being required along the frontage of the subdivision adjacent to Route 6 for connection to the Forest Preserve holdings and the existing I&M Canal Trail corridor. Water and sewer connection fees and developer impact fees will be required. A development agreement was previously approved and included language concerning future mining, blasting, and barge usage. The future bridge, utilities, the bike path, and streetlights. The Community Design Review Board met on June 1st. Minutes of that meeting are available. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioners for this item, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Osterberger. I'm an attorney for Ketone. The developer also here today is the engineer for the project and a representative from Opus who has purchased Lot 1 after the first plat. We're seeking to vacate this based on the request of the city to clean up some things rather than do a re-subdivision. But any questions you have, we're here to answer.
Very nice, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission? Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, then a motion's in order for V-4-17, P-5-17, and FP-2-17.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Orlando?
Aye.
Mr. Rousseau-Ellis?
Aye.
Mr. Broderick?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, the next item on our agenda is Z417, reclassification of 415 Bridge Street from R2 Single Family Residential to R3 1 and 2 Family Residential zoning. The applicant in this matter is Lori McPhillips Weglars. Ms. McPhillips Weglars is the owner. Requested action, zoning reclassification. Purpose is to align the zoning with the land use of the parcel. Existing zoning is R2, Single Family Residential. The proposed zoning is R3, 1 and 2 Family Residential. Location as noted. Size of the parcel is 6,400 square feet. Existing land use, 2 Family Residential. Surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is Single Family Residential, that's R2 zoning. To the south and east is 2 Family Residential with R3 zoning, and to the west is Single Family Residential R2. Under site history, the property was reclassified from R5 multifamily residential to R2 zoning in September 1998 through ordinance number 12040 as part of an effort to reclassify 2-unit and single-family homes in the area bounded by Center, Plainfield, Nicholson, and Douglas to match their existing land use. The reclassification was done to protect against conversion of these properties to higher density uses, not to change the existing use of the properties. According to city directory data, the structure was built as a single-family residence in 1910. In the 1930s, it was used as a residence and a beauty shop. By 1950, the structure was used as a 2-unit residence. The property has been part of the Neighborhood Services Rental Inspection Program since 1998 and has a 4-year certificate that expires May 2018. Under special information, the property was incorrectly downzoned to R2 Single Family Residential in 1998. The petitioners are requesting that it be reclassified as R3 to match the existing use. The property is in character with the surrounding residential area, which is a mix of 2-unit and single-family properties. The Community Design Review Board met on June 1st. Minutes of that meeting are available, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioner for this item, please?
I'm just here for any questions you have. And also, when we were purchasing the property, we just bought it within the last 60 days. Upon doing our due diligence, I found out it had a rental inspection, that the Neighborhood Services had it classified as R3 and zoning as R2, so I brought it to your attention so we can get it into conformance. And thank you. If you have any questions or anything.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Yes. How long have you owned it?
We bought it like May 1st, I think it was the last day of April. So just under 60 days. And we brought it here right away to get it rezoned.
Okay, then my question is to the city. This has been rented out as a 2-unit, yet it's been licensed as single unit, and now the city has gone to try to downsize to single units for the density of the neighborhoods. What happened?
I'm sorry. To clarify, this has been on rental inspection, our rental inspection program for quite a while, certified as a 2-unit. We mistakenly downzoned it back in 1998. And upon their acquisition of the property, they discovered the zoning discrepancy. This is unfortunately not unusual. We have made mistakes like this in the past. You can see the picture on the screen. It has a single-family appearance. So when we were doing these mass downzonings, there were the occasions where we mistakenly would look at something like this and put it on the list for downzoning. Adequate notice went out at the time back in 1998 when we downzoned this property, but oftentimes the owner, for whatever reason, would not get back to us and clarify. So it would stay on the list, unfortunately get downzoned. And when there is a refinancing or a new property owner coming into the property, that's when it's discovered. And so we clean these things up when we find the mistakes.
What's the square footage of the building?
I'm sorry.
right.
Yes, the square footage is 6,400, I'm sorry, the lot size is 6,400 square feet. The building itself
It's 2,600.
is,
The reason I'm asking is it something substantial for a 2-unit rather because it was originally built as a single unit? Was there anything added on to make it more amenable to a two-unit?
That, the construction record we do not have. What we do have is the history that shows, yes, it was originally constructed as a single-family residence, but converted back in 1950. And so we don't have those records to show exactly what was done back in 1950 when it was converted.
You have this, right?
However, it's been on our rental inspection program for quite a while and been
Well, we're not-
certified as a two-unit.
Obviously, we're not checking it out real close if we just drive by and see it, so.
Well, and we bought it as a foreclosure, and so we are improving the neighborhood. And actually, that picture is pretty much an after. There was garbage thrown about, the bushes were over them, the windows, and we are taking care of it too and improving the neighborhood with it. But it has separate egress and ingress for each unit, so it is set up where you walk in the door and you go into the first unit. There's two entrances. There's actually a third one to the basement, and then you go up the stairs and there's an entrance on the one side and then another exit on the back. So it is set up in the 50s. They did transform it into a two-flat.
How many units are going to be rented out here?
It's already rented. It's been rented, and the tenants have been there. And in fact, when we put the sign in the yard, there's two families that live there. And
Two.
the downstairs tenant came to me because they have a child that has medical issues, that has a service dog, and they need the unit for the dog. It goes right out the back door, and it has the yard and everything. So
So
they're
it's a
concerned.
three-unit?
It's a two-unit. They each have 3 bedrooms.
Okay. Then it'll only stay as a
Garage in the back.
two-unit.
Correct. Oh yeah, we're just going to leave the existing tenants in place and not just going to improve the property and not make it any denser.
But when you purchased the property, were you aware that it was a two-unit legally or not?
Well, it was advertised as a two-unit when it was foreclosed, and when I look back through the history, the records of it, in the MLS, it was a two-unit. But then when I went in, I called the city, and it was registered and approved as a two-unit. They had the rental inspection, because I always make sure I check the rental inspection records. They had it as R3. But then I have many years of history in government, so I went back to double-check the zoning department, too, to make sure the zoning matched that. That's where we found out that it was misclassified as
So
R3.
at the date of closing, you just
I
figured...
knew that, and then my intention was, I brought it to your attention, and I would come back and request that it be conform with the neighborhood. And most,
You own the property now, you already
Correct.
closed on it? Okay.
yes, we did close on it. We bought it from the bank as a foreclosure. And most of the properties on that block, the majority, more than 50%, are two-flat. So it's consistent with the neighborhood. It's been that use, has been passed as a two-flat, and it's occupied by the tenants now.
Did it meet all the requirements before you purchased the property for the city for a two-unit? It met all the
It
requirements
did,
then?
because it passed the inspection through 2018. And that was one of the
Up
things that
until-
we checked right away, that it did pass the inspection.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the commission?
Just a comment. We appreciate your thoroughness with your due diligence and background checking.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, then a motion's in order for Z-4-17.
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Orlando?
Aye.
Mr. Roosevelt?
Aye.
Mr. Broderick?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
There's no old or new business. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.